On this episode of Legacy 4x4, we're going to turn some rusty old barrels into a very formidable smoker, if you will. And let's just say things turn out pretty tasty, pretty tasty. Today on Legacy 4x4, we're not working on a 38 Chevy. We're gonna take this nice rainy day and we're gonna build a nice little smoker out of, you guessed it, 3 55-gallon steel drums. So the process was easy. I started with going on Facebook, finding some steel drums. These were $10 a drum from a local salvage yard. And yeah, I bought 3 of them. We're gonna make a T-design drum. They're all over Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. They're all over. Plenty of designs. They're not very hard to make. We're gonna do 1 barrel on top, notch that barrel, 1 barrel horizontal. And yeah, I bought 3 so I can make extra large door hinges and handles and skins. That way they overlap. That way there's less seepage. I went to Lowe's, bought a thermometer, some gauges for the meat, bottle opener, a magnet to make an intake vent opening, a bunch of hinges, some handles, you know, the usual. The first step that I'm gonna do is gonna be mocking up one of these drums to be notched and then mocking up the other drum into that notch. I'll save this last drum because it's the most dirty and make the door stands out of this. So I'm gonna get to mocking these 2 up. All right, initial cut's done. That's how it looks. If I take that barrel off, you will see inside this barrel, there is a bunch of leftover residue, right? So, this is not the final form by any means. This is all just for mocking up before I do a burn through and a clean out of these barrels. The next step that I'm gonna do is cut out my top door, and then I'll cut out my bottom door. Then I'll mark all the outside so I know which way I want it to go together. And then I'm gonna burn through everything, get rid of all the mess, get rid of all the residue. And that's just gonna be the pre-burnout before I do the final burnout when it's all put together and just run it for like 12 hours nonstop. Make the heat, get everything out, you know, do all the usual stuff before you use the smoker for actual meat. As you can tell, there's a little bit of gaps in it. Not too worried about it. That's why they make a sledgehammer right there. So that's gonna be good. I'm gonna mark up the doors for everything, the vents, the exhaust, get all that stuff marked up in place, cut, and then we'll move on to doing the burnout and then final assembly. All right, preliminary burn going on. Trying to burn out the most of the gunk before I smoke it out like normal. All the shape's already there, so went ahead, put some motor oil and some gasoline in there, letting her burn. A little bit of stick, but not much. Most of you all use motor oil. Burn's complete, took about an hour. Burned it with my mixture. Went ahead and used a wire wheel, hit it with the wire wheel. See, it's all dirty. It is muddy outside today. I work outside, it is what it is. But as you can see, the red has turned to a nice yellow hue. Everything in sight is on the clear. We're in steel and steel, 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 steel. We are good to go. Next up, what I'm gonna do, weld the bottom to the top, start drilling holes, start figuring out the side, and you know, just keep making progress. That's what it's about. All right, burnout in progress. I didn't get the inside done. The whole interior grate's empty. It is what it is, but here's the outside, the external of it. You can see we got a little seepage. I'm not too worried about it. This is a bottle opener, latch, same thing at the bottom. I have the bottom open to allow extra airflow because this is the only air vent I have so far. I'm gonna add more when I get there, but yeah. That's the exterior pretty much done, besides paint if I paint it, but I kind of like the rat look. You know, the rat rod hole vibe kind of matches, you know, my rat rod. So yeah. Tomorrow I'm gonna come back at it. All right, guys, it's been a few days. Had to wait on some parts, but here's the outside of it with a little bit of extra from where we left off. Added these grab handles. These are box and wrenches. You know, had an extra one laying around. I have a whole drawer of extra ones, so I figure, you know, why not? Why not throw them on there as grab handles? That way you can grab it when it sits up, you know. Haven't done anything to the inside yet. When it sits up, you can grab something to pull it back down, so it doubles on those. Back to the inside though, because that's what's next. As you can see, cut across 4 holes. I just didn't really feel like drilling big holes with my hole saw, aka I didn't have any hole saws that had bit slips. I broke them all, so cross it is for the smoke ventilation to come from the inside. I think that's enough surface area, but this is one of the things we're gonna play by ear. So that's gonna be good for now. Bigger holes in the back, try and get some smoke to come up towards the back and get the top rack. So there's gonna be 2 racks in the back, 1 rack in the front when I get there. On top of that, I put grill lining along the whole outside with some food safe silicone. That way I can get a nice seal from the lid, because this is a barrel going onto a barrel. It's not the most accurate. So what I want to do next. Oh, I also put in this green egg slider. So this is going to be the air slider to let air flow in and out. 25 bucks or whatever, you know, is what it is. Should do the purpose. But let's get started on the interior. All right, nothing like a little shelving accessories, because you can't have a smoker without a table on the side. So this is going to be a nice piece of uncut pine. I will grab that in a second. These are just decorative shelf brackets. Weld it right to it, because, you know, I'm too lazy for bolts. But here's how the grate turned out. I didn't make it 2 stories because I figured there's only about 8 inches of travel right here. Wow, I'm working on cars too much. There's only about 8 inches of room right here, so I'm not really too worried about it. And plus the grate's big enough to cook anything I need. Hopefully. Unless I'm cooking whole pigs, but we'll see how that comes out. So as you can tell, all I did was weld all these pieces together. I did 4 support pieces vertical, 2 horizontal pieces on the side. I don't know if you can see inside there, little 2x4 pieces of, you know, bracketry to hold it in place. Literally just weld it to the end right here. Pretty easy, nothing too complicated. It is removable. This whole thing comes out. I only use 2x4. I would have used 1x1 because that's absolutely plenty, but I only use 2x4 because that's what I had in my scrap pile. And hey, say hi to Fred. Hey, Fred. But no, that's what I had in my scrap pile. I didn't feel like buying more, so it is what it is. But here's how it turned out. Like I said, everything's looking good on it. Everything's looking good. This gasket and the seal's coming into place nicely. The silicone is drying nicely. I'll give it a whole day before I smoke anything to make sure it's absolutely solid and rubberized. That way when I shut this and clamp it shut, it doesn't go anywhere. I'm not gonna put any gasket on the bottom door just because I don't think it needs it. And I got an air vent anyways, and if little air gets in, it's not the end of the world. So, is what it is. Let's move on to making this little wood shelf. That's gonna be the last thing we do before we clean it and season it and smoke with it. Man, I love this car. It's coming along nicely. I don't know how far into this the YouTube videos have been released. I don't know when I'm gonna release a smoker update, but as you can tell, there's some sneak peeks on what's been done to it. Trust me, I'm still getting work done to it. Things just take time, like always, they take time, and YouTube decides to upload, or Jake and I upload 2 videos a week, 1 a week for both of us. So it is what it is. But all right, y'all, there's the rat rod smoker coming into place. A little piece of poplar, that's what I decided to go with. Nice little rough cut on the edge, a little bit of sanding, but for the most part it's rough. Grab handles lifted up, bottle opener, latch to keep it shut, temp gauge, extra handle because I put that in there first. Lift her up, you see how it works. Nothing changed. Charcoal wood goes in the bottom, smoke comes through, and it's a day. Exhaust vents up there. So there's only one last thing to do, and that's going to be test this bad baby out. All right, guys, coming up on 18 hours smoking the 10-pound. But so with that being said, did a nice little apple cider apple juice rub, mopped it every time we could, and in case you can't tell, the bark turned out pretty well. We're right at 200 degrees right now, so got a little more to go, and then we're gonna take her out, let her sit. But yeah, as soon as we come out, we're gonna put the brats on while the meat sets and settles. The brats will cook, and then we'll have a nice little feast. So I think that's what we're gonna call it today on this one. That was the whole rat rod smoker build. I'm really happy with it, and I think my taste buds will be too.